Okay. Hello, and welcome to Horror Movies and Shit. I'm your host, Jim, and with me, I would like to say as always, but it's actually kind of rare now, is.
I guess I had to, show up, at some point. It's Mark. I'm back,
It is
so
Mark.
everybody can relax now.
Oh, fantastic. Mark, why don't you introduce our guest?
So we have Trent on, who is one of the organizers of horror at the Ohio. It's a film festival. Plus, you have some special guests. I hear.
It's so it started out as a film festival. My dog's barking. I hope he's not being too loud on your all's end.
We were just going to blame Mark. It's okay.
So yeah, we started out as basically just a film festival in year one, and then by year 2 and 3, we kind of grew to have different kinds of events. We started doing like trivia. We did like a horror prom, which has been really cool, a costume prom, and we've done some other fun stuff. And then last year, we did have our first special like horror icon guest, which was Felissa Rose, and that was really cool. She was just an awesome person all around, great guest for our event. And then this year is year 4, and yeah, we are having another guest this year, which is Linnea Quigley. So
Awesome.
So we're not quite like a convention, so to speak. We are a film fest, but we're going to show the original films that we get through the festival, and then we're going to show a couple of Linnea's films, and then she's going to kind of do like a Q&A and stuff. And then like we have the trivia and prom and just a whole bunch of other horror themed fun stuff that we're trying out. So yeah, it's just kind of a big Halloween party at this point is what we kind of like to call it.
That's awesome. Mark, you don't know this, but I'm going. I've already booked my hotel room and everything.
Thanks for the update, Jim. I really need to, have all your things that you're doing on my calendar. So
You do. Yeah.
By the way,
vicariously.
Felice's a lovely guy.
That she is. She is. They. I don't know how you. Yeah. Exactly.
And I've met Linnea too, and she's such a sweetheart.
We've heard great things, and we're very excited to meet her as well. And I mean, Felissa definitely set the bar very high just because of how cool she is. But I'm almost certain that Linnea will meet it and be just as good. So we're pretty happy.
They're definitely kind of the classic old school '80s icons who are still working today that are so appreciative of their fan base. So anytime you meet them, they're just like so sweet.
Yeah, I definitely got that from Felissa, and yeah, I definitely see where you're coming from when you say that. And yeah, Jim, thank you for booking a trip. We're excited to have you. You're coming all the way from Florida. I don't know if that's the farthest guest we'll have had. We actually had some filmmakers that came down from Canada last year, so that was pretty cool.
Awesome.
But yeah, either way, we're excited to have you, and we are still a small event, but we're trying to grow and get as much outreach as we can. So happy to have it kind of have you represent Florida for us a little bit.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm actually not bringing, but 2 of my friends are coming with me.
Cool.
Ryan from Sinister Scripts podcast and Matthew, who is making a name for himself on TikTok as Horror Madness.
I think I reached out to Ryan once. I don't know if I did with Matthew or not. I'm not sure if Ryan ever wrote me back. But either way, I'm glad to hear he's coming. I'm glad that you're all coming. And just let me know, message me on the side and stuff to let me know, and we'll get you guys all set up and taken care of. So.
Oh, we're gonna have a blast. We're there to drink and have a good time.
Great. Those are the two of the priorities for sure. So
absolutely. So we talked a little bit before we went live, but tell us a bit about the festival and what it means to you. Like, why did you start this festival?
So I'm from Madison, Indiana, and I'll kind of delve into some backstory a little bit first before I get to the answer. But Madison, Indiana is on the Ohio River, so that's where the Ohio comes from. We've gotten a lot of like grief and flack from people online, and it's like, well, it's not in Ohio. It's like, no, it's not horror in Ohio. It's horror at the Ohio. The theater is called the Ohio Theater. It's a historic landmark here in Madison. And, we always just call it the Ohio. That's just kind of what it's known as. So that's where the name came from for those. Because when we started out, we didn't know how far outside of like Madison it would actually go. So we just thought Horror at the Ohio was a cool name. And then the farther it grew, it kind of got confusing for some people. So I always have to clarify. It's not Horror in Ohio. It's Horror at the Ohio Theater on the Ohio River. So, but anyway, Madison is a very kind of historical town, a very artsy town. And they do a lot of they do what's called Chautauqua, which is an arts festival every fall. They have a lot of different music festivals throughout the year. They're known for their boat race, which is the Madison Regatta. I don't know if anyone's into boat racing. Florida, I would think, would maybe be a good area for boat racing. So maybe you all are familiar with that kind of thing. But anyway, me and my buddy, Darren, who I wished was on here with me, but he is an art teacher at the school here. And he was actually my teacher back in the day. So we've been friends a long time. We always wanted to do something kind of film related. You know, when I was in his class, we had like media arts club. We always made films, and it was just kind of my big interest was filmmaking, and something I at one point wanted to pursue when I was younger. It, you know, didn't quite pan out that way, but anyway, it's still a fun hobby. Anyway, trying to bring it back to your question a little bit here. So we thought Madison would always be a cool town for something like that. It's never really had any sort of film festival. Like it's known for a couple movies. There is a movie called Madison that's based on the Madison Regatta. And then there's a really old movie called Some Came Running that was filmed here in Madison. So those are kind of our two claims to fame when it comes to films. But anyway, we've always kind of had the idea to have a film festival. And then he is actually the big horror guy. Like, I'm a horror fan, but he's like a huge horror nut. He's one of those guys that's got like the horror tattoos all up and down his arm, long hair, the type of guys you'd see at all the conventions. So he and I kind of merged ideas. I wanted to do the film festival, and he wanted to kind of inject horror into it. It's like, well, what if we just did a horror film festival and had it around Halloween and just kind of made it a big town-wide Halloween event? And so that's how it came to be. We partnered with the people that kind of oversee the Ohio Theater, which like I said, it's a historical landmark. They're working on rehabilitating it because it's obviously very old and it just needs a lot of updates and restoration. So they are actually a nonprofit group that works based on donations. Then they get donations and put it towards restoring the theater. And they have a lot of other events there throughout the year too, like concerts and movies and stand-up and stuff like that. So anyway, we partnered with them, started Horror at the Ohio. And like I said, the first year was solely just a film festival. We had, we put it out on Film Freeway. We got tons and tons of submissions from all over the world, which was really cool. You know, seeing different types of horror from different countries is always fun, I think, to see how just kind of different it is from, you know, where you're from. So like I said, that's how it started. And then with each year, I felt like we've kind of added something new and something more. Like, obviously the film festival is always going to be kind of the backbone of it, but we want to kind of open it up and cater to other people. Like, you know, maybe you're not into horror movies, but maybe you like dressing up in costumes, you know, come to the costume prom. Or maybe you want to do trivia. Maybe you just want to show up and drink and have a good time. You know, we want it to be kind of, you know, just a fun Halloween party, whether you're a big horror movie buff or not. So that's kind of where we're at now. And as far as what it means to me, like I said, I just, as a film lover and as a horror lover, it's cool to bring this to our town that's not maybe used to something like this. And I'm hoping that it catches on and grows into something that, you know, that can be one of the yearly festivals that we have every year. So
Mark?
I knew that was a long answer. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. Mark
So-
just looked like he froze again.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. My connection's weird.
He was in awe of how much I actually said on that answer. He was like, whoa. That was
Like,
a
if it
simple question.
freezes now, it'll be good. Trent, you sort of answered some of this because I know Jim asked the why. Why did you want to do it? I'm always very interested in the how, like from, you know, having that idea to putting it into action. You know, for your first go round, was it like nerve wracking, or did you get a lot of support, or was it easier or harder than you thought it was going to be, or what was your experience?
So weirdly, it's kind of been sort of the opposite that you might think. The first year, I felt like there was no. Hold on, I think I'm being invaded. I'm sorry. Hey. Go out there, please. I'll be out in a minute, okay?
I thought it was going to be like a burglar or something. That
All
would
right.
be exciting for you.
Okay. You
Sorry
had-
about that. Now she's gonna bang on the door. No, like the first year, there wasn't really a ton of pressure, just because it was something kind of new and kind of we didn't really know what it was going to be yet, other than just we wanted to have a film festival. Like, we kind of had plans in the back of our mind of what like our 5-year goals were going to be and what we kind of wanted it to be. But we knew it would be kind of slow starting out. So there wasn't like as much pressure that first year. But I feel like as we've gone along, there's kind of that pressure to kind of maintain and be successful and grow and hopefully offer new stuff to people. So I feel like that's a little nerve wracking because I don't want to just always do like the same old stuff every year. I feel like that might get boring. But then as far as support, that has been definitely the hardest part of it. We do have, we work on donations and we work on sponsorships. That's where all our money comes from. And we're very grateful for all of the local businesses that have helped out over the years. But it is very hard kind of selling people in this area on a Halloween and horror event. So, bigger cities, I feel like it's probably easier, but we are a very kind of small town. And I just think it's a little hard to kind of pitch that to people in this area sometimes. You know what I mean? Like they get it, it's Halloween, but it's not maybe something that everyone wants to be a part of. So it's been a struggle a little bit to do that side of things.
I noticed Culver's is one of your sponsors, right?
Culver's, yeah. They do what's called a share night at Culver's. Now I'm assuming every Culver's must do it, but basically you kind of pick a night, and then for 3 hours that night, you bring some volunteers with you. You kind of just work and help deliver food to tables, and then whatever they make during that 3 hour window, you get a small percentage of it. So it's pretty cool. They've done that the past 2 years. So.
Nice.
Jim, have you had Culver's?
Culver's over here is just an ice cream shop. So
are there a lot of Culver's in Florida? I feel like that maybe might be more of a Midwest thing.
There was a Culver's that opened like 5 minutes from me a couple of years ago. But yeah, they're all about their cheese curds and all that sort of stuff. So.
Yeah, I mean, I like Culver's. It's very good. But yeah, it's.
I don't think there is one on this coast. Mark and I live on different coasts of Florida, so.
Okay, so he's Tampa. Where are you at, Jim?
I'm over on the East Coast, just south of the Space Center.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, you've got it locked down then, coast to coast.
Yeah, that's right.
Florida domination.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is with certainly conventions in Florida, they've really gotten much larger over the last few years. So I recently went to actually a Comic-Con in Tampa, and I went on a Sunday, which is always going to be the slowest day.
Mm-hmm.
And it was so busy. There was no parking. And Tampa usually has good parking, big parking garages and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It was all sold out. It was crazy. The one person I was going to meet there, Keith David, his line was like 2 hours long.
Wow.
So I think there's definitely, I don't know about up there, but I mean, certainly I've seen it from going to like conventions and horror related things over the last decade. Really, it's just blown up, absolutely blown up.
Yeah, and like I said, I feel like every big city at this point has their own Comic-Con, but there's like several in Cincinnati, which isn't far from us. Cincinnati is about an hour, a little under an hour and a half, and then Louisville's about an hour. They have a horror con down there, and then Indianapolis, that's about an hour and a half. So we're kind of right in the middle of those three big cities. So yeah, I mean, we're certainly close enough to go to those bigger ones, and then we go to Horror Hound a lot. I don't know if you're familiar with that one, but that's in Cincinnati.
Have heard of it.
Days of the Dead, I think that's Indy.
That's Indianapolis.
Yeah. So, and same deal. They're always huge, and the lines are always long, and autographs are always expensive, and all that stuff. So, we're trying to kind of bring kind of that flavor to what we do, but obviously we're a much smaller venue and a much smaller town, and I feel like, obviously that can kind of hurt you on the like financial side of things. We can't really afford to bring in a ton of big time celebrities, but I think it can kind of work in your favor too, because we have more of an intimate, up close and personal experience that maybe you don't get at some of the big convention halls, or at least that's my opinion.
That's what I was going to say. I mean, it seems like, and I for one can attest that I like the intimate events.
Yeah,
it's cool being out with people, but my social battery depletes very, very quickly.
Yeah, and like Mark was saying, just the crowds and stuff. I mean, that wears me out too. And just like, you're just kind of shoulder to shoulder making your way through everywhere. And I'm just, I feel like that can be a lot.
It's like one of the conventions both myself and Jim go to, which is in Orlando, which is Spooky Empire.
Mm-hmm.
I much prefer, they have a summer one and then they have like an October one. And the summer one's way smaller. Yeah. And I always prefer that way more because just like, I'm very impatient. I don't like waiting in lines, and if it's like Jim says, if there's too many people around, my brain sort of explodes.
Yeah.
I need to get out of here.
And another thing I think that kind of hopefully works to our advantage too is, the theater itself, which is where everything is pretty much contained within the Ohio Theater. We deck it out. We put up spooky decorations. We have like original paintings. Like I said, my friend Darren is an art teacher. He's a great painter. So he does a lot of cool horror artwork that we hang up everywhere. We pretty much all the decorations we pretty much make ourselves, which is kind of, it's more work, but I think that always gives it kind of more of that homemade charm.
Mhm.
So we get it looking pretty cool in there. And then, like I said, just the fact that we do only have one celebrity, so you're up close and personal with them. And then, I don't know yet with Linnea, we'll find out, I guess, when we get closer. But like last year, Felissa, she wasn't just there to sign autographs and then leave. Like she actually was out in the crowd. She was doing the Q&A with us. She did a live commentary of Sleepaway Camp, which was really fun.
Oh, nice.
She helped judge a couple of our contests that we did, like our costume contest, and we did like a screaming contest. So she was really, really involved in just pretty much everything that we did. And I'm hoping Linnea is the same way. Like we want her to be as big a part. We don't want to just throw her at a table and leave her for the weekend. You know what I mean? Like I want her to be able to sign and meet as many people as possible, but I also want her to just be the VIP and just be as big a part of the event as possible.
That's awesome. I think that it sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun. So I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah.
So
with Linnea, I met her, and she was there was a film festival at the convention, and she had one of her movies there. Is a lower budget indie one called Disciples. I actually have a signed poster from her with Debbie Rocan, etc. was there. But she was super, like, I don't think you'll have anything to worry about with Linnea. Like she was out and about, super happy, like just meeting everyone. So yeah, she was great.
Good. Yeah, that's what we're hoping for.
So how do you go about booking your celebrity guest? Like I've always been curious about that. How does that happen?
Well, that would be a great question for Darren because he handled most of that. But he was just able to somehow find their booking agency and just reached out to her manager. And I guess it was just pretty straightforward from there. But I mean, obviously he reached out to several, and like I said, a lot of them were out of our price range. Linnea was kind of one that we could manage to do, but he just kind of sent out a bunch to see. And I don't think he necessarily got answers from all of them, but a lot of them he did. And it was just, again, I wish he was here to answer the question more, descriptively, but it was a matter of just finding their booking agencies and reaching out to their managers and stuff. So.
And that sort of answers the question. Like, I'm just curious, do you just send out mass emails, or do you go specifically picking who you would like to see?
I think at first it was kind of a mass email situation just to maybe see who we could get responses from. And then from there it was kind of, okay, well, what price ranges are we looking at for this person versus this person?
Fair enough.
And like I said, a lot of them, not trying to dog on any of them, but a lot of them were very expensive. And, for the big conventions and stuff, obviously it's easier for them. But for us, like I said, we're small time and we work on donations. So we had to be, a little cheap with it. But I'm not trying to say that we're, obviously Felissa was awesome and Linnea is going to be awesome. So, it's going to work out good.
Yeah, of course.
And the more people you get there, you could probably network with them and say, hey, you enjoyed this experience. Do you have anybody else that you think, might be a reasonable budget that would like to do it too? So.
That is exactly we're hoping for that. And actually, after Felissa last year, we did have a couple people reach out to us, which
Nice.
I would have loved to have worked out, but we had already had Linnea booked, and I just didn't think we had enough to, we'd love to have multiple people, but I just didn't think we had the budget to do it. So unfortunately, we did kind of have to say, maybe next year. But yeah, we've already had a couple people reach out to us about it, which was nice. So.
Well, that's good. That means that you're getting a lot of good word of mouth, especially with the celebrities that you want to have at your conventions. That's awesome.
Exactly. Yep. So hopefully for future years, it'll be easier as we go along. At least that's my hope.
Well, and now you're on our podcast, so we have an audience of millions. So you'll probably be inundated with the Robert Englund of the world.
Oh yeah,
and Kane Hodder begging to go.
All of the celebrities tune into our podcast to listen to Mark Rand.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. How many listeners do you guys have? Not to put you on the spot or anything. I'm just curious.
Jim?
I can tell you that we have 100 subscribers on YouTube, which is it's brand new, but Spotify is the only one that actually tracks subscribers. So we have 49 on Apple Play or Apple Podcasts or whatever their platform is, and then close to 200 on Spotify, and then the other platforms don't track subscriber activity.
Well, I only asked because I was on a podcast. I mean, technically, I guess it still exists. We just not have done an episode in a while. But yeah, we didn't have a huge audience, and I know it's hard to build an audience just from that experience. So I just was
Yeah,
curious.
I'm not gonna lie. We were doing better, and then I got involved with a super huge project at work. And since Mark is so lazy, he wouldn't produce anything. So it sort of just didn't. It took a back burner for probably the last 6 months.
That's where ours is at right now. Yeah, we were a 4-man podcast, which kind of is a lot now that looking back on it, just for scheduling and stuff like that to make it work. But yeah, me and Darren, who obviously do the festival, we have been really busy with that, and then just life in general.
Yep.
And our 2 other co-hosts were like, "Yeah, go ahead and make as much content as you want. It's all of our podcasts. Didn't have to be just one of us." And then yeah, they did a few episodes, and then it kind of teetered out a little bit. So, but we'll get back to it one day.
Oh yeah, Mark and I will be getting back into this hot and heavy in the next coming few months.
The podcast,
Mark, the podcast.
Okay,
I keep telling you, Mark, I'm gay, but I do not find you attractive. I keep telling you this.
Oh,
that's kind of mean.
I think you're attractive, man, Mark.
Look, I'm not the one that makes the innuendos, Mark.
Hey, your mom's hot. Though,
I
Jim.
think so.
I go, you think so? You definitely are, Florida man.
That's gross. I'm sitting next to a window here, and I look like pale as a ghost. I don't know why my exposure is so bright on my face. So hopefully you don't have any. Is it video or is it just audio on your podcast?
It's video.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah, we're
right,
live on Facebook. We're live on Facebook and YouTube right now.
I was gonna ask. Okay, well I see the live up there. I was gonna ask if you always did live episodes or if you ever like record and edit and put them out.
So I do also do very little editing, if like for long pauses and stuff like that, and then post the audio only.
See, our podcast was very much a edit and put out later because we are. There's got to be editing on our podcast. Too many dumb jokes that need to not make it in. Too many weird pauses and non sequiturs. So yeah, we very much are fans of editing on our show.
Well, the people that listen to Mark and I are actually fans of our banter and our non sequiturs, so that's sort of what they listen for.
If you got that, then you got it made. So
yeah, exactly. But anyway, back to horror at the Ohio, because I am one of those people that is constantly calling it horror in Ohio.
Yeah.
So I make that mistake all the time, and I know better. But I'm curious, what do you? Let's say 5 years in the future, what do you want this to look like?
Our plan, which I feel like we're kind of, with each year, we're realizing that we might have to change plans. But anyway, our original plan was, so the Ohio Theater is right in the heart of downtown Madison, which I said is a very historic area. We've got a really long historic I think they're the longest historic main street or something. There's some kind of record that it holds as far as the historical whatever of our downtown Main Street. Anyway, the theater's right in the heart of all that. And our goal was to kind of just have a community-wide, like all the different stores and surrounding people. You guys have seen, I'm sure, like Trick or Treat. Mm-hmm. If you remember at the beginning of that movie, they go to like that festival in the town square and it's at night and everyone's got like tents and stuff. Like we were kind of picturing something like that. Or I don't know if you're familiar with the Irvington Halloween Fest. That's also up here in Indiana, but it's like a couple hours north of me. I've never been, but it's I want to say it's been going on for like 80 years. It's like a very big traditional Halloween fest, and they have like their whole streets are closed off, and everyone they do all sorts of cool, fun stuff. You should look them up. Irvington Halloween Festival. But anyway, we kind of had dreams of something like that, where it was a citywide thing, not just the Ohio Theater, and you'd have the stores doing booths or different, sales or whatever out on the sidewalk. We'd have maybe an area of the city that could be, an outdoor part where food trucks line up or an outdoor movie or just, different things like that. We wanted it to be a huge town-wide kind of thing. That's kind of the struggles we've ran into with this. I don't think it's not that people don't care, don't want to do it. It's just like I said, it's hard to kind of get people on the same page with you and get that kind of support. So I don't know. We're kind of having to pivot a little each year and kind of change what we're wanting to do, and maybe temper our dreams a little bit. Maybe just make it something smaller and just kind of go with what we know, So, but
If it's historic, you should start putting it out there. I don't know if it is like it's haunted. This movie,
we've thought of that. Yeah, we've kind of tried to play that angle a little bit, but they do. We have a trolley that runs throughout downtown and does like trolley tours, and they do haunted trolley tours, and they reached out to us this year about possibly collaborating. So that could be a fun thing to do as well. Haunted, I don't think they're actually. I think they probably make up some stuff for for the sake of their tour. But hey, it's all fun and entertaining. So.
It's all about the stories.
Exactly.
I mean,
Yeah, I did a haunted tour in Salem and freaked myself right out like that. And that's what it's all about, right? You get in there, your mind starts running away with you, and regardless of what the story, you know the facts. It's, oh my God, something just happened. Oh my God, something just happened.
So
it's fun.
Jim, ghosts aren't real, by the way.
What?
Ghosts aren't real.
So Mark, you're the skeptic of the group. Every group's got to have one, right? So.
Yes. I don't believe in that.
Mark doesn't believe in anything he can't see, touch, or lick.
But that's not what your mom said. But what I will say is, I mean, I like the kitschiness of it. Like St. Augustine. Jim, you know St. Augustine, I'm sure.
Yep.
On that side. The oldest town in Florida, I think.
Yep.
And, we've done a couple of ghost tours there and stuff. And it's just a fun, kitschy thing. So,
yeah.
It's like I look at it kind of like just kind of like Christmas. It's fun to believe, it's all just kind of whatever, but it's fun to believe. It makes it just, I don't know, makes the holiday that much more festive and more fun. So
it's all about recapturing the magic, right? Because when you're a kid, anything's possible. So ghosts could be real, or poltergeist could be happening. You could actually, move your.
It's just a little bit of escapism from the frigging horrific world that we're living in.
And I've got a 5-year-old who I'm trying to slowly and appropriately introduce all that stuff into. I don't want to like traumatize her or anything. So she likes spooky stuff and is getting into kind of, that side of things. So I'm really happy to see her enjoy all that. And then I have a 2, almost 3-year-old as well that I'll probably do the same thing with. So.
Do you know what's funny? That just reminds me, and Jim knows this. When my kids were younger, and trying to get them into a little bit of kind of the PG stuff. So I put on Gremlins for them, and I was doing other things, and they were watching it. And this was at the time they still believed in Santa. And then afterwards, I remembered there was a whole monologue in there about what's her name's dad dressed as Santa who died, and that's how she knew Santa wasn't real. I'm like,
be careful with that kind of stuff.
Totally
However, there is a Disney alternative if you want something spooky but not scary. The Mr. Boogedy and the Bride of Boogedy, Richard Major. It's total family comedy. I saw it on The Wonderful World of Disney.
I wonder if that's on Disney Plus somewhere.
It is. They both are. Yeah. And Mark makes fun of me because I like things like that. But that's why, because it brings me back to a simpler time.
Yeah, and that's
100%.
That's going back to the festival, but that's exactly what we're trying to be about. Like, you don't have to be into like R-rated blood and guts slasher stuff just to like horror. Like, you can like the fun, lighter side of stuff, and it's all it's all the same, I think.
And some of us go both ways. I love that hardcore stuff.
Listen, like, stop talking about your mom, Jim. Anyway,
Mark, that's getting really old. But
no, she's not.
Yes, she is.
I can already see the dynamics that we have on our podcast with you guys.
It's just busting each other's balls all the time.
That's all we do. But I mean, I do. I like the family-friendly PG stuff sometimes because it reminds me of my childhood, and then I love some of the more extreme stuff.
Yeah, I mean.
So if it reminds you of your childhood, Jim, you're talking about like the silent movies. I'm just trying to gauge.
Poor Jim.
Mark, you're older than I am.
Anyway, so let's to get away from our bickering. So Trent, again, it's mainly a film festival. So what's the process as far as that? As far as do people send you in their films? But how do you advertise that? How do you get films?
Well, like I said, the festival is coordinated through Film Freeway, which I don't know if you've ever had any experiences with it, but it does a lot of the work for you.
Yep.
I mean, it's basically that's what it is. It's a film festival website. You just kind of set up your festival on there, and then it just puts it out there to whoever wants to search for it. You know what I mean? So, so that part of it's pretty easy. The first year we did it, we didn't have any submission fees just because we were just starting out. We didn't know what to expect. We didn't know who all would submit. Boy, I tell you, when something's free, you'll get all sorts of stuff. We had, I think, over 1,000, maybe 1,500 submissions that year. And, maybe 20% of them were good. A lot of crap you had to weed through. So we kind of learned our lessons like, wow, we better put, at least a small submission fee on this just to kind of weed out the people and the serious type of films. So ever since then, I think we've done, I think it's $10 is what we put on there to submit.
So how do you select the ones that you're going to show?
Well, Darren and I, and then we'll sometimes usually have a third or sometimes fourth person go on there, and you can make accounts and log on and watch them kind of on your own. And we just watch through them, and there's a scoring system on there that you can kind of keep track of for yourself, and it breaks it down by like acting, cinematography, all that kind of stuff. And you can kind of grade it based on that, and then you could leave notes. And so we just kind of pick our favorites and we whittle them down. I think our first year we had 30 films, and it's a mixture of short and feature, mostly short because we just don't have the time allotment to be able to show a bunch of features. So it's mostly short films. So we had 30 total that first year. And then I want to say the second year we had 20 or 25. And then I don't remember how many we had last year. But as we do more stuff each year, we show Sleepaway Camp, we're showing Return of the Living Dead this year. As we do more stuff, that kind of cuts down on time that we can show because we just have the one movie screen. Right. So it kind of cuts down on the number of films we're able to submit. But yeah, like I said, we all watch through them and we all just kind of score them, and then we'll go back through them and pick based on how much time we have to fill. We pick our, X number of ones that we like the best and screen them.
So since you've started doing it, what are your top 3 that you would recommend?
Oh gosh,
what are your 3 favorites?
That's tough. So
we asked the tough questions.
I'd have to bring up the Film Freeway site and go back and look at them all again. There was one last year or was it 2 years? See, I'm getting my years mixed up now too. There was one really good. I think it was from Spain. Spanish film, and it was called The Newcomer, I think, and it was about a substitute teacher who was demonic. It was like a whole demon kind of thing. It was really, really good, really well filmed, really well acted, and it won one of our awards. We give out little awards each year. Very prestigious, a Horror at the Ohio Award. You definitely want to make sure you have one on your wall.
Absolutely.
That was really good. There was a really funny, goofy one a couple of years ago from England called Worm, WUURM, and it was very Peter Jackson-y. The whole movie was about this guy that had a tapeworm that he was trying to shit out the whole movie, and he was on the toilet, and it was so goofy and so over the top, and it was like I said, very Peter Jackson kind of silly horror, and I love that one. That was always one that stuck with me. And then one of our features that we had last year, the people I told you that came down from Canada, they had a movie called Purgatory Jack, and it was a feature, and it was really, really cool and just well filmed, a really cool idea. So that was one of my favorites too. So yeah, just off the top of my head, those are the ones. I'd have to go back and look. I'm sure there's a lot of other ones. There's a lot of great movies that we've shown. But.
That's awesome.
So we actually have quite a few filmmakers on our podcast. So maybe it's something we could throw out there too. Hey, you want to throw your submission in there?
I may or may not have done.
Yeah,
that.
Jim's already hit me up with a couple. That's fine. Definitely send them our way. And I know that we have a submission fee, but like I said, we're more we're more about showing cool stuff than we are about like actually making money. The submission fee, like I said, was more so just to cut down on all the crap that we didn't want to have to wade through. So, you know, if someone wants to submit
Yeah.
something and, you know, they're friends of your all's, let me know and we'll get them in, or at the very least, we'll review them. And like I said, hopefully we'll have the time to fit them in too. You know, obviously part of the bad part of it is you're going to have to turn down some good films too, which we have. There's been some really cool films that we would have liked to have shown, but we just don't have enough, you know, time or theater space to show them all. So that's kind of the sucky part of it, but you know.
So you only do it for one night?
No, we're 2
Right
nights.
now,
We're Friday and Saturday,
nights.
and Saturday is all day, and that's where the majority of the film festival films will be screened. But we do try and show at least some of the shorts on Friday before we show. I think this year we're showing Night of the Demons as our kind of, you know, classic movie on Friday,
Right.
and then Return of the Living Dead will be Saturday. But yeah, we'll show some film festival stuff before that, and then probably most of the afternoon on Saturday.
Nice. I'm looking forward to it. So I guess we already answered that one. Never
And Jim,
mind.
I was going to ask you too, or I can't remember what we've messaged or not, but you know, if you want to have a table and a booth set up for the podcast or whatever you want to promote or do, we can do that for you. Or if you just want to come and hang out and have fun, that's totally up to you.
Honestly, this time I just want to come out and hang out and have fun so that I can give, when Mark and I talk after the event, I can just give an honest opinion of what the experience was like, right? And then I would absolutely love to return to have a booth.
Because we're trying, we had, last year was our first year that we kind of invited some vendors, and we didn't have like, I want to say we had maybe 8 or 10. It wasn't like a whole lot, you know, but again, we're a small theater. We can't really fit a whole lot either. So there's kind of a certain balance you got to do with it. So yeah, I think I can't remember how many we've got signed up for this year, but I'm always pushing it. So if you have people you know or people that are listening in, if you're a vendor and you want to make the trip up to Southern Indiana, reach out to me. We'd love to have you.
Yep, absolutely. I'm actually looking forward. I told you earlier that I'm doing trying to do a lot more traveling this year. So A, I've never been to Indiana, and B, I've never been to strictly a film festival. So I'm really excited for this experience.
The pressure's on now. I'm feeling we have to deliver now. I have to.
Look, like I said, I just want to drink and have a good time. We do that.
The more you drink, the better time we'll have, right? So.
Exactly.
And feel free to keep them up there.
You may want to stay. Some people come here and fall in love with this town and end up staying. So,
Jim, you'd love to move again, right?
No, I just bought a house, so I'm not moving anywhere.
Florida's where you go to stay. Most
in-
people don't usually leave Florida, right? You go down there to live out your life,
To
right?
die.
Yeah, Florida's
Not that
really
you guys are close
yeah.
to that, but I'm just saying that's the, you know, you're there by the ocean, and you know who wants to do that?
Well, I was dragged down here unwillingly when I was a
Oh,
child.
well, so you were kind of rooted.
Did the FBI ever catch the guy that brought you down here, Jim?
No.
Oh.
But I did leave for a few years. But the first time that I had to shovel my car out for 8 hours, I was like, I'm going back to Florida.
Did you go way up north or what?
Connecticut,
Oh,
yeah.
that would. We get
That's where I
snow
grew
up
up.
here, but we don't get that kind of snow. We get a lot of like
Yeah,
Indiana is literally you'll get all 4 seasons like in a day up here.
yeah.
You'll wake up and it's cold, freezing, then you might have a little coolness, and then it's like 90 degrees. We're in a very rough heat spell right now, which has sucked, and humidity. So
No way.
Hang on.
Not,
What is that?
not heat and humidity.
What
Jim.
does that mean to you?
well, now I know there's Florida humidity too, because you know I vacation in Florida, so I know it's rough down there. But right now we're in the low 90s. We did have a couple weeks there where it was like mid 90s every week, which sucked. And then we kind of had a nice break where it was mid 80s, and that felt like autumn. But now we're back.
Our feels like temperature yesterday was 106.
I'm not going to complain too much because I'm sure you guys have it worse. But
You know,
I like the heat. So I
yeah,
don't care.
Mark
Give
is
me-
living.
by the
Make
ocean,
it 100.
you can always go and probably chill out in the ocean.
I just like the heat.
Yeah, nobody goes to the ocean in Florida. Not if you live in Florida.
Yeah, they do.
I was
they don't.
wondering if living in Florida is very different from vacationing in Florida.
So, Mark, let me ask you this question.
Yes,
If you go to the ocean to go swimming, why do you have a pool at your home?
because you can do both.
Why?
because they're different experiences, Jim.
Seems like a waste of time to
We
me.
do not understand
Well,
different
most
things, different experiences. So I live like 10 minutes away from Clearwater Beach, which is
That's
Beautiful.
where,
There's
that's where
beaches
we
down here.
vacationed, I think, a couple years ago, and it was an awesome. That was my
Okay.
first time there. It was a really,
Yeah.
really cool beach.
Then
But
you come-
sometimes it gets super busy down there. And even though we live 10 minutes away, some weekends it might take you 40 minutes to get there because of the traffic. So
then you come to the east coast of Florida and everything's mud.
But,
It's gross.
well, welcome back to our travel vlog.
Anyway, so oh god, totally forgot. I was trying to get us back on track. It just didn't work. Mark, get us back on track, please.
No. So, Trent, is there anything else you want to talk about as far as your festival? Because I kind of want to pick your brain about kind of just some of your favorite movies. Et cetera.
Honestly, I think I've covered the bulk of the festival. Just to do a little shameless plugging, the dates this year for anyone listening: October 24th and 25th. It's a Friday and Saturday. We do have more info at horrorattheohio.com if people want to go check out our website, and there's a ticket link on there as well. Linnea is going to be there both nights. We're going to show Night of the Demons and Return of the Living Dead, which is going to be a lot of fun because that's one of my favorites. I hope there's some listeners. I don't know if all of your listeners are from in or around Florida, but hopefully some people want to make the trip like Jim and come up and check it out. And
We reach all the way to Spain. Just so you know.
We're
if people
worldwide.
would come in from
We are.
Spain, we would be happy to have you.
Yep, absolutely. So, what catapulted your fandom into horror? What's your favorite horror movie? What's the movie that started it all for you?
So my journey into horror was kind of unique. So when I grew up, I wasn't as big of a horror fan growing up. I kind of got into horror later. And again, Darren is my friend who's the big horror guy, and a lot of it was his influence too. And we actually made an independent horror movie back about 9 years ago, 2016. And so it was kind of right around in there, maybe a little bit before that I really started getting into horror, both just as a general interest and then obviously for the movie as well. But we made a film called Gnawbone, which was shot in and around Southern Indiana. Didn't really, go to streaming or anything like that, but we do have DVDs. Remind me, Jim, when you're up here, I'll try and hook you up with a DVD or two to take back with you.
Absolutely.
So that was a big, thing. And then, I don't know. As far as favorites, one of my favorites is probably The Thing. I feel like that's a lot of people's favorite, but that's just like such an awesome horror movie from so many different angles. And then just John Carpenter in general is such an awesome, horror icon. So that's definitely one of them. And I think I was even messaging you, Jim, that, I kind of like sci-fi horror. I kind of like supernatural ghost kind of horror. And then, I like all the slashers and stuff like that, but I like stuff that can kind of have some lore and some mythology to it. That's kind of more my jam.
Yeah. Mark?
As far as sci-fi horror, have you seen Pandora?
No.
Should
Is
watch
it I don't even know is it a recent one or what's it?
No, it's from a while ago. It's Ben Foster and Dennis Quaid.
Look it up.
And it's one of the ones that kind of flew under the radar. Pandora.
You'll have to keep me posted because generally Mark's recommendations are crap. So if you like it, Trent, let me know.
Horror is just one of those things, man, where I feel like with other kind of movies, I feel like you could maybe kind of check out. Is that from it? Is that from the movie?
Yeah, this is a screen-worn outfit from Pandora,
Awesome.
which I got. Yeah. But it's a great movie.
I'm gonna check it out. It's on
which is why I
Tubi,
love
so
it.
I can definitely check that out. Horror is just one of those genres where I feel like you truly do have to just watch something to get an idea for it yourself. Like I feel like with other movies, you could kind of maybe look at Rotten Tomatoes or IMDb and kind of figure out if it's worth watching. Horror, though, there's so many different things for so many different people that there could be a really shitty horror movie that I find awesome, and there could be a really well-made, elevated cerebral type horror that I find boring. You know what I mean? That a critic.
I hate elevated
Yeah,
horror.
that's a term that's kind
in
of
general.
frowned upon, and I kind of used it, in that way.
Yeah, no, I totally get it. I just it's generally not for me.
So are you?
Every once in a while.
Jim doesn't like to think too much.
That's all I do at work is think and boss people around. I don't need
I
to
don't
do it
like
at home.
horror that thinks it's elevated, that thinks it's smarter than you, and is trying to tell a some sort of message in a way that thinks it's, I don't know, that thinks it's too clever.
I think whatever works
Yeah.
works, and sometimes the dumbest ones can be the most fun. But sometimes you'll put on your thinking cap, and I think the cardinal sin of movies is like being
Yeah.
bored. So whatever it is, as long as I'm not bored, it's usually pretty, at least watchable.
Exactly. And I mean,
Yep.
I'm kind of right there with you. And when I say bored, I don't mean someone has to be getting stabbed every 10 seconds either. Like the story
Yeah.
could really hook you in,
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I'll bring it up just because it's relevant and it just came out. But if you guys watched Weapons or heard anything about Weapons yet?
I've heard some good stuff, but I've also have a few friends that are not big fans.
I watched it today.
Well, we don't have to spoil
Oh.
anything, but thumbs up, thumbs down for you.
So I really liked it. It's weird because his last movie was
Mhm.
Barbarian, which was very much a movie that the second half and the first half are not really the same
Yeah.
at all. And I guess he had already written the first half and made it into a short, and then they said, "Hey, let's make a movie out of it," and he kind of just came up with the second part on the fly.
Yeah.
In a way, this is almost the same. But this one feels much, much more cohesive. I love the Rashomon / Pulp Fiction type of vignettes for each of the characters going along.
Yeah.
And I thought, even if you took the horror part out of it, it's still a great movie. And I think just kind of the mystery and the reveal and everything totally worked for it. So I really enjoyed it.
I agree, and I brought that up because you mentioned boring, and I could see where someone might think a movie like that's boring because there's long stretches where not a whole lot really happens, and it kind of meanders a little bit. And even I was thinking like, okay, where's this going? But like you said, it all the different vignettes kind of coalesce at the end, and it kind of brings it all together in a satisfying way for me. And I was just really engrossed the whole time. So.
And the funny thing is, right? So I'd heard about it. I think I saw like half of a trailer, and but then I didn't. A lot of movies I don't want to know anything about.
I'm the same way. The less I know, the better.
But like with the cover, weapons, knowing there's missing kids. In my head, it was like Children of the Damned. These kids are going to go out and start killing people. Maybe it's like an alien thing,
government mind control or something.
Right, something like that. And I'm watching the movie, and I'm really loving it. But it's maybe like 40 minutes or 50 minutes into it, and there's been like basically no horror.
A couple jump scares, but not a whole.
Yeah, just a couple things here and there, but it's mainly not a horror movie. So I can imagine people going into it, if they just hear it's like a horror movie, being disappointed if that's like their main aim, right? I mean, it's funny, it's well acted, and well directed. I mean, I love the direction too. So, but that's sometimes your expectations going in. Even if it's a good movie, some people mightn't like it because they expected something different. So I can see maybe some people having that sort of.
And not to get into like a huge like discussion on what is horror, but like I feel like horror can just horror can touch so many different genres, and it's like to some people, what is a horror movie to them? And like you said, they go watch a movie like Weapons and they say, well, that's not horror, and they might be disappointed. But like I said, you don't have to be killing people or having ghosts or monsters throughout a whole movie for it to be a horror movie, in my opinion. Like horror has so many different subgenres, and I feel like it's the only genre that if you inject horror into it, automatically becomes a horror. Like if it's a comedy and there's horror elements, it's a horror comedy. If there can be horror, drama, horror. There's gonna be horror romance movies. I feel like it's one of those genres that
there's definitely a spectrum thing going on, and you could almost watch a movie and say, like whenever I watch a movie, oh, that's 90% horror or 40% horror or whatever, just in your own the way you consume it. But like as long as something isn't mismarketed as something, right? I think that's when people get pissed off, right? Because like take any genre, take comedy movies or something. if a comedy movie is marketed as like a drama movie, then people will obviously be like, what's going on here? It's a comedy, like. But I mean, I think the melding of genres, which I think Weapons does very well, because again, it's a mystery, drama, comedy, horror.
Yeah.
Almost in that sort of percentages. If trying to look at it, I mean, that initial hey, what's going on is really the driving force for everything. But yeah, I really like it.
Hopefully, we didn't spoil too much about it, Jim. I was trying.
No, I don't think we did.
I'll forget in 10
It
minutes.
is
It's
good.
okay.
And the great thing about it is also, and again, this isn't a spoiler, but halfway through, I was like, oh well, I hope they don't just kind of solve it at the end, and it's just this twist, and that's it, right? Like an M. Night Shyamalan one, and okay, well that's, but they actually explore the ending. So it's
They
not
peel
just
it back very slowly, which I like. I was kind of expecting the same thing. It was just going to be some twist, and then like, no, as we go along, you kind of start to piece it together, and you kind of start to figure it out. I'm like, oh, okay, this is interesting. So
that's awesome. I love a good mystery. So as long as the story's engaging, I'll be happy with it.
I thought it was personally. I think you'll like that.
Yeah, Jim the Butler did it. That's
what are your
does.
two like go to if you had to pick a horror genre? Like, what's your either movie or subgenre or whatever?
Me personally, I tend to go more to sci-fi or sci-fi like Alien, or slasher.
Are you looking forward to the Alien Earth TV show?
No.
Are you like a purist?
I think that starting with Prometheus, I'm sorry, not Prometheus. Prometheus actually, like starting with Covenant, they sort of destroyed the franchise, and then Romulus was totally garbage.
You didn't like Romulus?
I thought it was just it was awful.
Okay.
I liked the android. He was fun, but everything else was just a rehashing of other stories or forcing scenes to fit a visual.
Yeah.
Where it didn't make sense.
No,
my biggest gripe with Romulus is the fact that she went back to save an android she was going to destroy anyway. That doesn't make sense. Like that throws the whole story into what? Yeah. And then all of a sudden the xenomorphs, if you stand still, they can't see you. Like that's stupid.
No,
with body temperature or something, right?
What? Yeah, I mean, Romulus, beautiful looking movie.
Mm-hmm.
Love the aesthetic, especially kind of the Blade Runner-esque start of it too. But it should have been renamed Alien Fan Service.
Yeah,
because that's all they did all the way through.
Yeah,
and I don't mind throwing in a little kind of Easter egg here or there, but when you're throwing in like "Get away from her, you bitch," it makes no sense in that scene at all, and it's just like, oh hey Alien fans, remember that thing that you like here?
Yeah, I mean, I get it. It can be too much sometimes. I would agree with that.
And then. If we're after other than Alien, it would be A Nightmare on Elm Street is a movie that kicked off my love of horror.
Yep. Oh, he's got something.
It's probably his dog has to go out or something.
A cool prop or
something. No, but I remember and I tell the story a lot, but with Nightmare on Elm Street, my mother taped it off HBO because that's how old I am.
No.
she and I came home and she just kept building it and be like, hey, I taped your favorite movie. We're going to watch it after it gets dark. And she just kept talking about it. And I had never heard of this movie before. And then she had me sit down and watch it thinking it would scare me, but I fell in love.
How old were you?
I loved every minute of it.
7. Oh, wow. That's an intense movie for 7. So that must have hit all the right buttons. And must have just...
It did. And ever since then, I have been a huge fan of the franchise. The only thing that I hated in that franchise was the remake.
I actually have never seen the one from like 2010 or whatever.
Yeah, and I understand the point they were trying to do with Jackie Earle Haley and his real life burn victim type look, and that was okay, but it did detract from his performance because he couldn't use his mouth. And then the storyline just was absolute garbage.
I feel like that is just one of those roles that you can just only one person can play it. You know what I mean? Like they're probably going to try and remake it again down the line, but that's just one of those things you should leave alone. It's Robert Englund.
So Robert Englund has a really great idea on how to continue the franchise, and I freaking love his idea. And it sort of takes a snippet out of Freddy's Dead, where Freddy is different for every dream, right? It all fits the dreamer. I think that could be a really interesting avenue to explore.
I mean, as long as it makes sense in the story, but as long as they establish that it's supposed to be a different, like you're saying, it would still be Freddy, but it would just be a different kind of.
And they tried that with the New Nightmare. And I think that's where they pretty much lost their audience. I don't know that A Nightmare on Elm Street, like it'd be a great film, but I don't know if they could tie it into A Nightmare on Elm Street. I don't think they could do it and retain the loyal fan base.
Yeah, I just think some of those franchises should leave alone.
Some franchises just need to die. I'm sorry, like just leave the greatness and come up with something original.
And it's like, you know,
I am sort of excited though about Camp Crystal Lake.
Is that the Peacock show that's coming out? Okay.
Yes,
I've heard of it. They've been working on it for a while.
I'm kind of excited because it is a prequel, so we are getting a look into Jason's mother's life. It's not going to tie into the whole Jason Voorhees zombie warrior thing.
Motel,
so I'm excited about that
for Jason.
Yep, exactly, and it's going to culminate with him drowning at camp.
Probably.
So I'm excited.
So we already know the end, Jim. Thanks.
I mean, it's laid out in the first film, Mark.
Mark, what's your answer? I don't know if I got yours yet.
Oh, about like genres or
movies.
I mean, okay. So I mean, I'm a product of the '80s, so like '80s horror is always going to be not only just I think for nostalgia or anything. I literally think looking at the '80s compared to any other decade, I think a lot because of kind of the VHS boom and it becoming more accessible for smaller production companies to kind of swing for the fences with like crazy ideas and let's just throw this out here and whatever. I think it was just such a breeding ground for imagination. But I love horror of all different types, right? It doesn't matter. It could be, you know, it could be something from the 1920s. It could be something from yesterday. Whatever's a good movie is a good movie to me. And, you know, I try to appreciate kind of the art of it and the goofiness of it. And I love a serious movie. I love schlocky C-grade horror, sci-fi, just whatever. I think also I've been trying to introduce Jim into like more foreign horror movies because there's so many great foreign horror movies out there. And we're kind of in that golden era of we went from VHS, but it was very hard to get, you know, a lot of foreign movies. Now we're in the streaming age. It's much easier to access a lot of them. Like, for example, my favorite horror movie is the original French movie Martyrs.
Great film.
But, you know, if that was made maybe in the 80s, I mightn't have been able to see it until the 90s or later. But, you know, now with streaming, you just get so many of these movies, Shudder, etc. But, yeah, I mean, mostly like my go-tos are like comfort food or 80s, but again, I've got an eclectic taste. So just everything.
I kind of hijacked your show. I kind of became the interviewer there for a second. Sorry about that.
That's okay. We don't mind. It gives us a rest. I'm exhausted after moving all week.
Like we don't see it as interview. We just see it as, you know, talking with friends. You know, like sitting in the bar, just having a conversation about.
It's like I told one filmmaker we had on here. If people care more about your product when they know you as a person, so we don't like it to feel like a forced interview. We much prefer a natural.
I've enjoyed just, you know, I've felt like I've known you guys forever already, just being on here an hour. So it's been fun talking to you.
Yeah, it's absolutely a blast. And I do want to extend the invitation. I'm sure Mark agrees. You're free to come back whenever you want. Anytime you have time, you let us know.
Yeah. I told you, and I probably need to get off here in a second to help get my kids to bed. But yes, I would love to get back on here before the festival, after the festival. Maybe we'd have like a recap and we can talk about the weekend you had. And I definitely want to get Darren on here because he's like you guys. He was that 80s, child of the 80s, kind of grew up with the slashers and stuff of that era. So he would really find a lot of common ground with you guys as well. So
Yeah, it'd be a blast. We can actually, you know what? I'll message you on Instagram because we definitely should set up a recap after the festival
definitely
for
okay.
sure.
Be here before you know it. Like,
That'd be
it's
great.
crazy to think it's what, a little over 2 months now away, and I feel like there's
I know.
so much for
I
us to
know.
do. So
I was at Walmart today and they had Halloween stuff out.
yeah, I saw some as well. I was at Walmart.
Crazy.
I saw the Reese's pumpkins. That's when you know, when the Reese's pumpkins.
Yeah.
My mother brought home Halloween peeps. I'm like, already?
Halloween I don't even know if I've seen those. I'm not a big peep,
Pumpkins and ghosts, you know, all that.
but yeah, it's crazy. I feel like once 4th of July is over, it's pretty much Halloween season. Like that's like the last holiday, and
Yeah.
then it's just like, all right, let's get Halloween. So
I would agree with that. So, Trent, before you go, tell people where they can follow Horror at the Ohio or yourself. You know,
the
that kind of
easiest
stuff.
is to go on Facebook and find us. We have a Facebook page, and that's where the majority of our like updates and stuff go out. Again, though, also check out our website, horrorattheohio.com. We do have an Instagram and Twitter that I'll put stuff out on, but I put more stuff out on Facebook. I probably need to get it on Instagram, get that going. I feel like that's trendier and more popular these days. Actually, we probably need to have a TikTok, but I think past that age window of being able to fully understand and do that.
I post on TikTok. You'd be fine.
We need to get one. That's definitely on our to-do list. But yeah, Horror at the Ohio, pretty much on everything. Like I said, Facebook.com. And we do have a Horror at the Ohio at Gmail. If anybody wants to message us about anything, any questions, we're always happy to help. And yeah, just spread the word. Tell people you know about it. Like I said, we're in year 4, but I still feel like we're very small and trying to grow. So, we need as much word of mouth and as much outreach as we can get. So that's why I appreciate you guys having us on here, introducing us to the Florida crowd and all sorts of new audiences. So
anytime, we're happy to do it.
Yeah.
Except Mark's miserable.
Sorry, Mark. No, I was going to say also, whenever we get our podcast up and going again, if we ever do, the same invitation goes out to you guys. We'd love to have you on there as well. So
Yeah, we have
it's
a
the
blast.
Horror You Know podcast is what it's called. It is still out there. We have a lot of old back.
I was going to say, I know that podcast.
So, we talk about true stories that go, like movies that are based on true stories or true legends or some sort of, even if it's BS, some sort of true backstory that maybe inspired the movie. So
That's awesome.
yeah, so check us out on there too,
That's
the Horror You Know, if people are interested. So
Absolutely. I'm sure we'll have all of our 3 listeners would love it.
Brent, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on. Like Jim said, come back on absolutely
Definitely.
anytime. It's been. I know you have to go look after
being
the
done
little
before
ones.
again, yeah, I think so.
Jim, I'm going to hold on to you after Trent goes.
Okay.
I have some movies to talk about.
I guess we should
Okay.
leave, and then we're good, right? Okay.
Yep.
Thank you guys.
Yep. And I'll send you a link when I post it back to Spotify.
Okay. Yep.
Okay.
Thank you both again, Mark, Jim. It was awesome, and yeah, we will set something up again for the near future. So awesome.
Absolutely.
Thank you guys.
Thanks a
All
lot,
right,
Trent.
perfect.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Trent. Love you all. Jim.
Oh, Mark. Hey, give me a minute. I got to go check on Robert. Come here if you want to come here. Say hi, Mulder. Say hi to everybody. Say hi, Mulder. See? Hey, say hi. Say hi to them. He's a good boy. Say hi. Oh, gonna eat my finger now? All right. All right. All right. All right. You're so mean. You're such a mean boy. Oh, big yawn. Big yawn. Good boy. Good boy. Yes. We're waiting for Mark now. That's my good boy. Yes, you are. You're such a good boy. Yeah, you're my good boy.
Say hello. Say hello. They can see you. Yeah.
I'm back.
Welcome back. Okay, so you have something. Look, say hi to Mulder.
Hello, Scully.
Why are you in black and white now?
I don't know. Oh, maybe if you walk away, like, I don't know. Anyway,
Anyway.
all right. So I watched some movies. So I talked about weapons.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird because I actually watched some movies for a change.
That is weird because I haven't had any time.
Terror Tombs 4. I'll wait if Joe comes
Yep.
back. I have thoughts on that, but some of it I really liked. I don't know if
That's
you watched
great. I can't wait. I have the entire quadrilogy, but I got it right before I started packing, so it's in a box still.
So probably like in my head, when I heard Terror Tunes, I was presuming it was Evil Tunes. Have
I
you ever
don't
seen
know.
that one?
No.
It's like the Roger Rabbit.
Oh no. Yeah. No. This is not.
Anyway, so I guess like number 4 is different from the other 3, but
That's what I hear.
I watched The Seasoning House
How was that? Because I keep skipping it.
from 2012, and I'd never heard of this one.
I
Well, I
keep
was
seeing
in-
the cover art, but I've not.
I was in like some Facebook group, and somebody was like, "Oh yeah, you should watch The Seasoning House. It's more disturbing than a Serbian film." So I'm like, "Oh okay, well, let's see what it's all about then."
Yeah, because you thought a Serbian film was bland.
I don't find this Serbian film disturbing because it's too over the top. It's like cartoonish.
Mhm.
But I really like it. But The Seasoning House, it's set in, it's not Serbia, but it's the Balkans,
Okay.
which is kind of that whole area. There's a lot of kind of Eastern European countries in there. And it's kind of war torn at the point. And it's like, I don't know, early 2000s, I think it's supposed to be set in. But the premise is soldiers go into a house, kill the family, take a young girl who's maybe like, I think she's supposed to be like 12 or whatever. So she's taken, put into a van with a bunch of other young girls who are then taken to this kind of hotel size place where they are forced into, what do you think, Jim?
A soup?
No, they're forced into prostitution. So it's like sex trafficking.
Gotcha.
But she's mute and deaf. And the main guy that's running it basically takes her and uses her to go around and like inject drugs into the other girls so that they're hooked on drugs, and then people will come in and rape them, right? And that's really for the first maybe hour. It's just kind of that miserable experience of her living this life, right? There's no escape. She doesn't have any family. She's kind of put into the situation of doing all this. Then it kind of turns into her fighting back. Have you ever seen Mute Witness?
No.
Or I guess Hush, right? Hush is the same sort of pregnant, deaf mute, but she's a young girl, and it's really good. But then, unfortunately, I think in the last 10, 15 minutes, it does go into like, this is just unbelievable what she's doing and how unbelievable the bad guys are. Sean Bean's like one of the main bad guys.
Really?
And it's actually directed by the same guy that did Howl, if you've seen Howl.
I have. I enjoyed Howl.
Totally different movie, this one.
Yeah.
But it's really well worth checking out. Well directed. The girl playing the lead is very good. It just loses it in the last like maybe 15, 20 minutes. Up till then, it's obviously not a happy movie, but it's really well done and really effective. So that's The Seasoning House. I watched, and this was a movie I was somewhat looking forward to, and it's a series I like in general, just because it's kind of goofy fun.
Okay.
And there's movies that are better in the series than others, obviously. So I watched Final Destination Bloodlines.
I'm interested to hear your thoughts because we talked about what I thought when I saw it.
Did we?
We did.
So just remind me real quick, did you like it or not?
It was a fun film to watch, but it relies too heavily on CGI and being over the top to be a fulfilling type of movie, but it's a lot of fun.
I disagree to some of that. So let me just say, like the opening, even though it doesn't make a lot of sense about how that whole building collapsed or any of that, right? I'm like, really, this whole who thing? I don't know. But that was real fun. Throwback, it's the 50s or whatever. Cool sci-fi type hotel. Cool. Even if you disbelief, whatever. It's Final Destination. It's not serious. Really cool and interesting. The rest of it, I found boring. There was the most bland protagonist. She was just like nothing. Just nothing going on, and it's maybe not the actress's fault. I think it's the script's fault. As you said,
I agree.
Like Final Destination has always had CGI in it, right? It's fine, it's fine. But what this movie does is it lingers on the CGI, which makes it look terrible. In the other movies, it was they usually did like a quick of CGI in between practical effects.
Mm-hmm.
So you weren't sitting there looking at somebody's stupid CGI face with like a pole through it that looks terrible.
Right.
It was just, I was watching it and like I said, I was kind of like interested because the trailer looked really good. And then it's got such a lot of buzz about it. But this is by far, I think, the worst Final Destination movie.
I checked out, I think, at 4.
Well, I think there's 4 and then the Final Destination and then this one. So I think you're just missing one. But,
I didn't see the Final Destination, but again, after the second film, they just sort of got ridiculous in general.
Yeah.
So I didn't go into it looking for a story. I just wanted to have
exactly,
fun.
And I think that's what they are in general. But even this one, it does away with like a lot of the kills. Right, it's not about even the actual kill; it's the Rube Goldberg. How does this kill start? And in this one, a couple of kills, it was like, oh, a folder fell on something, and then that's like, okay, you're not even putting any effort into this. So disappointed. Now, I will say I didn't really know too much apart from you like the book, and I think we're going to have the author on or whatever at some point. Clown in a Cornfield.
Okay.
So you didn't like it?
I really, there's no way to sugarcoat this. I really hope Adam Caesar has a lot of success with this film, because I think that the 3 books in the series are amazing. Mm-hmm. I think they're all extremely well written and the stories are great. The movie is everything that put me off from reading the book for 3 years, because the movie is a YA horror movie that lacks any real depth, which is not what that book is.
So yeah, I definitely got that young adult feeling from it, but it almost felt like a young adult written by somebody who's not like, kind of far away from young adult culture.
Yeah, this book, or the movie, I should say. The book is so full of heart and so full of, oh God, I don't know. I don't know how to explain it, but it just, there's so much depth in the book and emotion and antagonist. That's not the right word. I don't know how to explain it, but there's so much feeling in the book that gets lost in the movie. Like there's a twist in the book at the very end that gets thrown into the middle of a murder spree in the movie, and it loses everything that was impactful about that moment, and that really disappointed me.
My major issue with this movie is that it's tonally awful. There is no, like, is this supposed to be like a scary movie spoof? No, it can't be, because they spent the first 40 minutes making it not that. And
Right.
then, like, when things start going, like there's two things that, like, points that just really stuck out in my head. I'm just like, oh, like really? Like, so first of all, whenever they all go into the shed to get away from,
Mhm.
I was like, it's a steel door. They can't get in. And there's clearly somebody with a chainsaw, and everything else is wood.
Yeah.
I'm like, is this supposed to be like this stupid? But then they're all knocking through with like hatchets or whatever. And then eventually the guy with the chainsaw, like, I'm like, so they weren't even smart enough on the outside. Hey, chainsaw guy, just why don't you just cut this open here real quick?
That scene in the book was so intense.
Oh, is this just awful?
In the movie, it did not get translated well.
And then the other one that really stood out for me, just as like just prime examples of tonally weird. Again, for the first 40 minutes, which really nothing happens, right? I mean, as far as horror goes, it's just generic teens being generic. You know, I'm the blonde girl, and I'm the there's no character. And then as I was watching it, I'm like, is this supposed to be a parody of 80s slashers with these like one note characters? But I guess it's not. Or maybe it is. I don't know. But one of their friends,
I think that's
one of
why
their friends gets violently killed in front of them, and they run to a house. And one of the girls is ringing the doorbell. So the other girl goes, "Oh, really? I can't believe you're ringing the doorbell. What are you doing? Like, you just saw your friend get massacred, and this is what you're talking about?" Like, it just tonally so off. I'm like,
Yeah.
This is supposed to be a joke, right? But it's juxtaposed between the scene of their friend getting brutally murdered, nothing in between. Then the next scene is her making a joke about her ringing a doorbell. I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I found it to be aggressively annoying.
I hope you give the book an opportunity, because the book is really well written, and it is a hardcore slasher flick.
Do you know what the funny thing is? Like, the real funny thing, because I was watching it in my head, I'm like, you know, a film that really captures this kind of this quasi parody, but we have characters that feel real and you have an emotional attachment to, was Tucker and Dale versus Evil. And I kept on thinking that all the way through. And then I looked it up afterwards, and it's the same director.
Yeah. And that's exactly what I was afraid of. As soon as they announced the director, I was like, this is going to go really bad.
Well, no, like, I would have been more excited for it, knowing that, because Tucker and Dale versus Evil is amazing, and it absolutely nails that in between point of comedy and horror, and kind of the meta.
But I think the difference is I don't know, and I could be wrong, but it's the material you're adapting.
Well, I haven't read the material, so
I don't think that tonally the source material lends itself to that sort of comedic
So-
breakup. You have to feel that tension with very few moments
So-
of breaking. And in the movie version, they tried too hard, in my opinion, to break it up.
Is the book less of that sort of, like I say, meta commentary? There's kind of the Scream or Tucker versus Dale. Then what was it?
Yeah, it is not at all tonally equivalent to Tucker versus
Or
Dale
Scream?
at all.
I mean, I'm just saying that they're obviously taking
Yeah, no.
tropes and playing with them.
Yeah, no, it is not that at all.
And the actual story doesn't make any sense. Like maybe it does in the book,
There-
but the
It does.
reasoning
You-
why
you-
they're doing it made no sense. Made no sense.
Yeah, no, there's so much more to it in the book.
Because they're just like, oh yeah, kids are annoying, so every while we just kill them. Like
Yeah, no, that's
you were a kid once, so were you not annoying? And nobody
Think-
knows about this.
so in the book it's more like Strange Harvest, kind of, where there's a reason that it
I haven't
happens.
seen it, so don't spoil it.
Okay, so there's a reason behind it, and it's not just because kids are annoying.
But that's what the movie portrayed, right? Was I missing something?
No, the movie absolutely did not capture the reason for it, and like that, the penultimate scene, or I don't know if it's penultimate. In the book, it's sort of the ultimate scene, where the kid's tied up and stepping on the roof of the truck
Mm-hmm.
in the barn is way more impactful than it was in the film. Like it just sort of seemed like an afterthought the way that they shot that, and
It seemed pointless.
yeah, it's not. If in the book, that is exactly where it was supposed to be, and I'm telling you, you have to read the book.
So, and like in the first literally maybe 5 minutes of the movie, here's my thought process because it's the way I look at movies. Was like the opening scene supposed to be like a Jaws homage ripoff? Because that's what it seemed like.
I mean, that might have been the intention in the film, but that's
Right.
not.
No, I'm just talking about the movie. Like, let's just focus on the movie.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what I got. And then the guy that looks scarily like Scott Bakula as the dad. I'm like, okay, so he's a doctor coming into this, take over a doctor in this kind of backwater. I'm like, is this arachnophobia?
Right.
The other thing I just have to, the guy who was in Abigail was also like the guy's dad in this. I can't look at that guy. I can't because all I see is Elon Musk, and it's so off-putting. He looks exactly like. Am I crazy? He looks.
Yes,
exactly
you are. I
like
don't think he looks
Elon
anything
Musk.
like him. No, I don't agree.
You don't.
No.
Okay. Let's see. What's his name? Abigail movie.
I'm gonna say Kevin.
Yes, and he was at Spooky Empire.
Yeah.
Kevin Durant.
That's him. Yep.
It is. Let's see.
Kevin Durant is who Elon Musk wishes he could be.
I'm sorry. I don't know if you can see that.
I cannot see that at all.
Never mind. He looks like, and even I was watching Abigail with Charian. I'm like, why is Elon Musk in Abigail? It was so weird.
Huh.
Anyway, that's all I got.
I unfortunately have not watched anything recently because, as you know, I just moved.
Mhm.
So we are finishing setting up the house. We've got 4 rooms all set to go for the most part. 2 more to go.
Well, enjoy your mansion.
Mansion. You have more rooms in your house than I do.
What? No.
How many bedrooms you got, Mark?
3?
No.
Yes.
the gym is a bedroom. Your
No,
horror
the gym
movie.
is a gym.
No, that's a
Maybe
bedroom.
you should know this. You're a gym.
That's a bedroom. So you have 4 bedrooms.
No, because there's no wardrobe in here, and that's what qualifies a room as a bedroom.
By wardrobe, do you mean closet?
I guess so. Is that what you call it over here?
Yes. Yes.
A clothes wardrobe. That's what qualifies a room.
To me, a
bedroom.
wardrobe is a piece of furniture,
No, look it up.
not a closet.
Look it up.
No. I said to me, when you say wardrobe, I think of a movable piece of furniture, not a closet.
A closet could be movable. You mean something built into a wall?
Yes.
No, it just has to have a wardrobe in it to be considered a bedroom. The more you know.
So technically,
Okay.
that could be a bedroom. I get it. So you have 4 bedrooms.
3 bedrooms, yes.
4 bedrooms, yes. We get
There's no wardrobe in this room, so
it. Anyway, so Mark, it's been great having you on. You should be on more often.
Huh?
But like I said, work's starting to calm down some. We're getting settled in the house, so we're gonna be going at it.
Okay. What about the podcast?
Maybe we'll see if we have time left.
All right,
Anyway,
it is.
thanks everybody.